Hi, today we are here with Kate Genovese. Kate is here to discuss her books, Hat Tricks from Heaven. This is a personal story for Kate as it chronicles her son's struggle and the struggle of her entire family in dealing with the addiction and the effects it has on the entire family unit. Hi, Kate.
Hi, Candace.
Kate, what inspired you to write such a personal story?
Well, when Geno died, I started a support group, and we all decided we would journal. And my journaling, because I've written before, my journaling led to this book because as I'm writing, I'm realizing how many people I could help by writing these things down. Some of the things that I did right, some of the things I did wrong, so that others could look at my situation and say, this could be my kid. And that's who should be reading this, the person who thinks their kid, this couldn't happen to their child, basically.
One thing I found very interesting in your story, Kate, is that you are a registered nurse. You are someone who is trained and has a degree. Prior to dealing with your son's addiction, did you have a preconceived notion of what type of an individual was an addict?
I really did not think about it too much when my kids were younger. As they got older, I started thinking about it, yes. I started thinking about it. We didn't have it too much in nursing school. I worked in a hospital, and we had plenty of patients that had surgery and were on drugs for their pain. And I think I started to really think of an addiction when they were 11 or 12 and what could happen to them and other children.
So, not just as a nurse, but as a mother, was it hard for you to understand this when your son, who was handsome, athletic, a superstar, when you started to realize that there was a problem?
I was in very much denial. That's why they call it a family disease. My husband and I were both in denial. He started out smoking pot. We thought nothing of it. Everybody smokes pot. But as time went on and he had injuries, and with those injuries came the OxyContin, we started to worry. I started to worry, very much so, especially when he was almost 17.
So, you mentioned that it's a family disease, and you talked about his teenage years. At what age do you think that not only did Geno start doing it, but at what age do you think that parents should start looking for drug and alcohol use in their kids?
Well, I went to a program the other day, and one woman stood up and she said, I have my 5-year-old come with me and get rid of all the drugs that we have in the house because that's what the police told us to do. She said, I'm starting at 5 with all my kids. Seems a little young. I was a school nurse for 6 years. I would say 11 or 12, right when they're entering middle school, because that's when trouble happens. Middle school, that's when they don't have anything to do from 3 to 6. There's nothing to do for them. There's no sport right at that point. They're out hanging, they're out at the mall. They're thinking of things to do. So I really believe that's when parents should, right then and there, start thinking about addiction, thinking about I have to just watch my kid and see who they're hanging around with as well.
You mentioned signs of addiction. Are there any signs of addiction that you think you might have missed or just been in denial of?
I was in denial at a very young age. My son Geno had surgery when he was 6, he had a hernia operation. And when we got home, he said, Mom, the doctor gave me one of those pills, and I think I need another one now. And I said, well, do you have pain? And he said, well, not particularly, but I think I need one to sleep. And I gave him one. And I actually just thought of that last night. Was I that ignorant that I would do that for a 6-year-old? But I didn't continue it. I mean, I threw them out. He didn't need any more. But it made me think, I gave it to him so readily. Like, I didn't think twice about it. I didn't think of it as an addiction particularly.
The struggles that families go through dealing with this issue are unimaginable. Can you talk to us about one of your most difficult moments, and with time and reflection, when you look back, maybe how you could have handled it differently?
Geno was, at this point, we knew he was an addict. We had gone through so many years of him not worrying about it, although he was in high school and college. But when he was 26, he had to move home with us because of his addiction. And he knew I was going down to the bank. He had no money. He was really sick with this disease. He needed drugs so bad. And he walked into the bank and he stood there and he looked horrible. He looked sick. He looked thin. He begged me in front of the teller to please give him money. He said, Mom, I have to. Will you please give me money? And the teller looked at me, and I looked at her, and I said, I will give you a little bit of money. And so that little bit turned out to be $600 that I took out for drugs for him. And after I did that, I was ashamed. I really was ashamed of myself for doing that. I knew better. I really knew better. I should have just been tough and walked out. I shouldn't have said anything. I should have just walked right out of the bank. You know, there's so many things I think of now I wish I had done. Truthfully. Yeah.
What advice do you have for families that are going through this issue?
Okay, first of all, every parent should, at the age of 12, when their kids come in at night, and even if they aren't suspecting, or if they are, they should check them. They should have a conversation with them before they go to bed. Do they smell alcohol in their breath? Are their eyes pinned, tiny, meaning that they're using narcotics? Are they scratching, which is a side effect of heroin? Are they talking funny? Are they being mean? Just different signs like that. I think that's very important to do, especially on weekends when they go out, yes.
I know that sometimes people can struggle to reach out and oftentimes don't know who to ask for help. What advice can you give to families that are looking for help?
Well, that has happened to me. This was way before Geno, when he was in elementary school. I had several parents come to me and ask me what I should do, and I initially said, go to the pediatrician and get a blood test, see what's going on with them, because with a blood test they can show. If they need somebody to talk to, there are so many people out there. There's school psychologists, there's social workers in school, there's people on the outside, physicians on the outside, psychologists on the outside. You can talk to somebody that's been through it. The biggest thing is not to be ashamed that you're asking about it, because this is not a shameful disease.
Thank you, Kate. And I look forward to recommending Hat Tricks from Heaven.
Oh, thanks, Candace.
Thank you.
It's nice to meet you.